What's up guys, CJ here and welcome back to this week's all-new Game of Thrones video. Kind of a new thing we're trying out today is we'll be taking an in-depth look at the preview for next week's episode. After this week's episode, Eastwatch, we had major developments in almost all of our storylines, from Jon and the Westerosi version of the Suicide Squad heading to capture a White north of the Wall, to the intrigue at Winterfell, and even a major plot point about Jon's legitimate claim to the throne. The preview for next episode shows major developments in two of these storylines: Jon's journey north, which doesn't seem to go as planned, and the wedged Littlefingers trying to drive between Arya and Sansa, which seems to reach a climax as the two come face to face kind of in a intervention style moment. But for more, let's get into that in-depth breakdown. Our trailer opens with Jon in the north, staring out at the bleak nothingness, and get used to seeing him in this episode because at least from the percentage of time in this trailer dedicated to his mission, this episode is going to be mostly about Jon and friends north of the Wall. We see shots of this ragtag group traveling across the icy wasteland, while Beric Dondarrion has a little monologue about death, saying, "Death is the enemy, the first enemy and the last. The enemy always wins, and we still need to fight him." Now, he could actually be speaking specifically about the Night's King, as an enemy nearly as old as Westeros itself, being an quote-unquote old enemy, and the final enemy to be defeated by man. Or, and I think this is more likely, he's kind of generally speaking about death as in the oldest enemy that all men face, and the last one we'll ever face individually in our lives and never defeat, but we still struggle every day against it. This takes on special symbolism as we see Beric's actually telling this to Jon, the only two people we've seen in the show resurrected, both by priests of the Lord of Light. The "we still have to fight him" line could then be talking kind of less about bravery and more about how the two of them, having technically died, still have to fight to stop death for others. Unfortunately, that fighting turns a little more into running as we see Jon, Tormund, and probably others hauling ass away from the Horde of the Dead later at the end of the trailer. So, not sure what the plan of attack was, but it looks like it didn't exactly go off without a hitch. We also see a brief shot of what remains of the crew running back through a tunnel, what looks like one of those gates into and out of the wall, and oddly enough, it kind of looks like they're headed back outside again as opposed to running just back in, but the shot is brief, so the white that we see outside that gate could just be snow falling on the inside of the wall, I guess. Regardless of that shot, if it is them escaping the army of the dead, the Horde, it's almost certainly that we're going to lose at least one, if not a few of that crew next episode. I mean, my money would be on Beric, Thoros, Tormund, or the Hound, or maybe some combination of those four, but specifically for the Hound, there are still Clegane Boley things that he still has to do, in my opinion. We also see Beric activate his flaming sword thingy, an old trick that Thoros used to do if you remember, though it kind of looks like he lights it on command, literally just by putting his hand on the sword, so maybe it's more than just a trick this time, and we might finally be seeing Lightbringer, but it's kind of unsure why Beric has it. Meanwhile, we also get a brief shot of Daenerys and Tyrion in Dragonstone, and in the immediate aftermath of last episode, the look they share could be about the way she's going about her war with Cersei, but given the immediate context of the trailer, it could also just be Tyrion urging her to head north to help Jon out. The other action we see the most of in the trailer is back in Winterfell as the intrigue between Arya and Sansa reaches a climax. We see Sansa kind of nervously looking back through a door as she closes it behind her, while Arya says, "You're scared, aren't you?" And later, "What are you scared of?" A later shot seems to show that the two of them are going to have some sort of face-to-face chat, intervention style, and given the looks on their faces, it kind of looks like Sansa knows that Arya's got her on something. That something is very likely the note that Littlefinger stashed under his bed for Arya to find, and the same one that Sansa wrote back in Season 1 to Robb after Ned was taken prisoner, urging Robb to bend the knee to Joffrey. Granted, Sansa was under major duress from Cersei and was led to believe that her writing that letter and Robb's eventual cooperation would help ensure her father's survival, which kind of was a lie. It literally was actually a lie, but Arya doesn't know that. So, will the sisterly spat be resolved and the tables turned on Littlefinger? We can only hope. Our trailer ends as the Night's King strides forward, potentially entering the fray himself, before a cut to black and the Game of Thrones logo appearing to the sound of cracking ice, which might not bode well for the Wall. Let us know what you thought of the trailer in the comment section down below, and if there was anything we missed in this breakdown, but that's going to do it for me here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw, subscribe for more great content every single day, and consider turning on your notifications to be alerted every time we upload a new video. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.